Hi, it's Tuesday, the 15th of October, and we're here to look at the daily astrology. So I'm going to share the chart first, and then I'm going to have a little chat with you about the moon and this supermoon. What does it mean, supermoon? Why is it called that? Things like that. Okay, so let's just put this chart up and have a look at this first. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to note is just an odd thing. If we look at all these planets, a lot of them are in the high 20s or they are at 20 plus degrees, so between 20 and 29 degrees of the zodiac sign. If I just whiz round, so we've got Vesta at 24, Mars at 22, Jupiter at 21, Uranus at 26, Eris at 24, Chiron at 21, Neptune at 27, Moon at 24. Um, so Saturn is square Juno, and they are at 13 and 12. 29 for Pluto, 13 for Ceres, and Mercury is at 2. But the rest of them, so Venus 27, Juno 23. Can you see how many are in the late 20s? Now, the only reason I'm mentioning that is because if you have a horoscope and you were born at a time when you too have lots of planets in the late 20s, then when we get these odd days where by coincidence a lot of the planets are around in the teens or in the 1 to 10 mark, or so when we get these odd days where we have an abundance of them all in the 20s, and if you've got a chart which has a lot of planets in the 20s, as I do, then days like this will be remarkable because you're getting a lot of transits hitting your natal planets all at once. So you get a kind of an intense thing going on, uh, lots and lots of activity. Okay, so that's just a simple thing. I'm just going to make the point that the moon is at 24 degrees of Pisces, and in 6 degrees, so 12 hours, it will make the move from Pisces to Aries. And that's quite an important point, really. There is a huge difference between the Piscean, relaxed, laid back, I'm exhausted, leave me alone. I just want to float around in the quiet waters, flicking my tail, and I want no hassle, leave me. I'm tired and I'm done. So there's a huge difference between that and Aries going, ta-da, springing into life. Come on, everybody, right, let's get going. And it's sometimes quite palpable. The other thing is that when the moon moves into Aries, it's actually going into the sign in which it will grow full. That is a bit different to when it is growing full in one sign and then at the last minute moves sign just before it gets to be full. You get then this weird effect where you get, let's say it's growing full in Pisces, for instance. It's not, but well, it is, but not enough. Let's just say that, right? Let's say it's growing full in Pisces, and then at the last minute it moves into Aries. Well, you've got this effect of this intensification of Pisces, and then all of a sudden at the last minute it jumps into Aries, and it's kind of like a schizophrenic thing. It's like, whoa. Well, this full moon isn't like that. It's going to grow into a full moon in Aries. It's got loads of time in there before it gets exactly full. So we know what we're doing. We know what we're about. We know we're on the Aries and Libra axis. So the energy is all about relating, the world of one, the world of two, that kind of thing. I've spoken about this already. And if you see yesterday's video, I was talking about Juno and Eris, particularly yesterday. They are very much involved with this full moon on Thursday. So you'd be wise to get updated on those two planets before we go into it, and then you know what to expect. There you are. Now, I want to talk about the term supermoon. What does supermoon mean after all? It is bandied around so much. All the newspapers will be going supermoon, and astrologers are going supermoon. But does anybody know what a supermoon really is? So I think, let me explain. And then you will be able to delight all your friends at the dinner party by telling them what a supermoon really is. Okay, now the moon has different movements that it makes, which are independent of each other. Okay, let's start there. So it has a movement which we can see, which is the light from the sun on the moon's face. Okay, so the moon's face is always there, but it depends how much of it is lit. So have we got a crescent moon? Have we got, looks like a half moon? Have we got a full moon? That really depends on the position of the moon to the sun. Okay. Now there is something completely different going on as well, and that is the moon's orbit around the Earth isn't equal. It is not a circle. It is an egg-shaped. So if we've got the sun here, if we've got the Earth here, and we've got the moon going around it. So I'm going to start with the moon here, and I'm going to go round, and I'm going to swing out and then swing round and then get closer again. Now, I probably exaggerated that, but there is a difference between the closest position of the moon to the Earth and the furthest position of the moon to the Earth. The closest position is called perigee. There is another name for the furthest away, but perigee is the closest. We'll just stick to that one. Okay. So when the moon is closest to Earth and at the same time it has its full face lit by the sun, so it is a full moon, those two things together mean supermoon. Simple, really. Now, okay, supermoon. Okay, so it's closer, and it's fully lit. Okay. Let's think of some stuff here then. In astrology, does that mean that it's different? Is we get a full moon and it's closer? Is that different to a full moon and it's further away? Well, in actual fact, the answer is that it does make a difference. And I'm going to explain to you how and why we know there is a difference in the way it affects us as humans. So the first thing I'm going to say is think about the tides on Earth, okay? So we know that the tides are affected by the moon. The moon's gravity is entirely responsible for the tides on Earth. It pulls the water from the oceans up towards it because it has a very strong gravitational pull. The water raises up to it, and that makes it a high tide. Okay, when the moon is perigee, closer to the Earth in its orbit, it pulls that water even higher. And that's when we get really high tides, or really low tides, but definitely high tides. And if that's making that much of a difference to the tides on Earth, then as far as I'm concerned, it is making that much of a difference to us too. I mean, first of all, we're mainly water. But then we have to think about this gravitational pull, this sort of feels like a magnet, doesn't it? Gravity. Now, science doesn't really understand gravity. They can't sort of organize a way to understand how gravity fits into the standard model of physics. So they can't reconcile the whole thing and put it to bed. That's it. We understand how the world works now. Gravity doesn't seem to fit. So we don't know a lot about gravity. For my money, it works at long distances. They don't take too much notice of that, but I think, no, it's part of the whole solar system thing. The electromagnetic, the gravity, all the rest of it, all converges to give us the way that astrology works. Okay. Right. So if we have got more gravity on a supermoon, is that going to intensify the feeling in astrology? Does the astrological outcome, is it intensified? Yes, it is. As far as I'm concerned, it is. And so therefore, supermoon, yeah, we should go. Oh, supermoon. I'm sitting up for this one. Now, because of the particular phases of the moon in terms of the light, yeah, we're going to have a fully lit face. That fully lit face is going to be a little bit bigger, say 13%, something like that, a little bit bigger than it is when it's furthest away. And it is noticeably so if everything else is equal. Now, in the winter, we get clearer skies and a clear atmosphere. We get that crisp, frosty atmosphere, and we can see the night sky more clearly. In the summer, it's more hazy with the heat. So there's loads of reasons why a moon could look bigger or smaller, more hazy, not as obvious, brighter, that kind of thing. But if everything else was equal, and we've got the full moon and it's at perigee, then yes, it should be looking brighter, but it should always feel stronger anyway because it's that much closer, right? Okay, so yeah, this is one to note, and it will be, as I say, in the realm of relating and relationship. Because it's on the axis of Aries Libra. Let us also remember that axis is about combat and fighting, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, getting your own back. The world of one versus the world of two, and how those two can be very aggressive with each other, or just diplomatic, or loving, or distant, but nevertheless fair. There's loads of different things that can be brought into this. So there we go. So hope that is useful in terms of understanding the supermoon. So you'll now be able to entertain your dinner guests, won't you, with a long explanation of what the supermoon is. Because actually, between you and me, I don't think a lot of people really know. I think they just see it online or they see it in the newspaper and they go, supermoon. I don't think they actually know. Well, you know now. So there we go. That's good. Right. I don't think there's anything else to cover. I think we've done it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh yeah, there we go. But I'm going to find the right button and I'm going to say, thank you very much for listening. Always great to talk to you. Don't forget, you know where I am if you want any relationship advice or support. I'm very good at that sort of thing. It's called synastry. So we get the two charts together and we work out all kinds of amazing things to understand the relationship between two people. Works like a dream. Helps, really helps. Anyway, you know where I am if you want me. Because after all, this is a very exciting week. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. And bye.